You always smell the food before you eat it? No, but I bought like a new type of potato chips and I did not know what to expect of honey barbecue flavor. So I had to smell it first because it was mildly suspicious.
Is it the mustache? Who knows?
What's up YouTube and welcome to Feel the Minah, an archetype that has been in and out of the meta for a long time. But of course with the addition of Gnar makes pretty much every Freljord deck better. This has had a little bit of a resurgence recently. Last Friday when Italian tournament grinder Broken Ball took down Fight Night Europe with this deck in his lineup. Therefore showing that this deck can be absolutely competitively viable if played well, and it is a good meta call. It fits quite a niche in the current meta. Now I'll give you a rough overview of the deck first, and then I'll talk about how this deck is different from previous iterations of Feel the Minah. So the main game plan is to ramp a little bit with Faces of the Old One, Catalyst of Aeons. We try to get through the early and mid game with AoE removal, which is Ice Shard and Blighted Ravines, and with some units, right? Sentry, Tavernkeeper, very nice for sustain as well as drawing. Gnar is a good board control tool. Trundle is a great board control tool. Then we fend off our opponent's biggest threats with Will of Ionia, Concussive Palm Deny, and we try to finish the game with our top ends huge tempo swings. Ideally we get there before our opponent does because we have been ramping. Minah Swiftfoot, we play a solid unit while recalling 3 on our opponent's side. Trundle level up of course in his own makes him a viable threat. Feel the Rush, one of the strongest finishers in the current game. Scattered Pot can also be a force because once you hit Enlightened, once you hit those 10 mana gems, it becomes elusive and can be a scary proposition on its own. Quite important for deck building. The draw a slow speed spell is also guaranteed to always draw you Feel the Rush, which is why we don't have to play 3 copies of this. Fast speed and burst speed are a bit more all over the place. Burst speed can be Catalyst of Aeons or 3 Sisters. Fast speed can be anything else. And 1 copy of it that's there is mainly as a board wipe tool, but sometimes also might help in the Bandle City matchup and can be tagged higher if you run into Bandle Tree a lot. Now what's interesting about this build is, well, first of all, you use Gnar instead of Trundle as the most used second champion. Trundle Sejuani used to be the go-to. And Gnar, of course, is much better in the mid-game. He's kinda interesting to level up with this list because you do play Ice Shards as well as Blighted Ravines going off at round starts, which, if you then play Gnar, can give you quite an easy level up. But the most interesting thing, of course, is the Pokey Stick provision, giving you additional removal, additional draw. The downside of playing Gnar over a card like Trundle, of course, is that we have much less 8+ cost cards in our deck, only 6 copies that would enable Faces of the Old Ones. So I've been chatting a little bit with Broken Ball himself about this list, and he said this is not really an early game ramp tool. It wouldn't really make sense to be too reliant on this in a meta that's completely packed with Patricide Broadwings, right? Which can just take this one out for free. Instead, we fairly often just want to play this on like turn 5, 6, 7 to ramp up to a key turn, to get that mana threshold for a quicker Trundle Pillar, Scattered Pot, Minah, Feel the Rush. But of course, sometimes it can also just be a good early blocker against aggro, usually being able to take 2 hits, or in some matchups you will also just have some fortunate draw and be able to use this to ramp as early as turn 2. And the other difference in playstyle is just because of how the meta is shaped. This deck is a lot more mid-range oriented. We don't play avalanches, and since we play Gnar instead of more expensive champions, we have more board presence early on. This is also very nice for the current meta. It's very tempo reliant, it's very fast, and we will usually outvalue most of the decks we're facing anyway, so we don't need to play more copies of finishers or high cost cards. So if you keep those things in the back of your mind, I'm sure you can find some success with this list as well. One final piece of advice that I would give is this deck really requires you to plan ahead because you play a lot of rather expensive cards that can be a bit clunky. You need to be very aware of how much mana you'll ramp to and how much spell mana you're banking and how much spell mana you'll need for crucial plays and crucial spells on the next couple of turns. And planning ahead, of course, is also very important to get some cheeky Gnar level ups. And to give you some inspiration on how this deck can be played, here are a bunch of lovely gameplay examples. How's the German internet today? Today it should be fine. That's a weird matchup. I guess we look for ramp. Ravine only hits House Spider, right? I guess in combination with Ice Shard it could be good. That's a much better hand though. You always smell the food before you eat it. No, but I bought like a new type of potato chips and I did not know what to expect of honey barbecue flavor. So I had to smell it first because it was mildly suspicious. Our opponent's start is so incredibly slow, it's crazy. Welling Gnar is a play. I probably want to flock first though, right? This does give a target, but sure. That was quite the overpriced recall. What if it's just Gigapod here? Gnar is a bit too easy to remove for my taste. Also, is burst speed always Catalyst of Aeons? So we could go Pod. 6 plus 1. Next turn 7 plus 1. Catalyst 9 plus 3. Perfect. So on our next attack turn, we'll have Feel the Rush. Am I missing something? 3 Sisters, I guess. 1 copy. So we're only 75% to get it. Well, I guess in that case, Will of Ionia might have been nonsense. Oh, Jesus.
Don't blink or you'll miss me. It's not bragging if you can back it up.
Look out for reavers.
Top deck Catalyst.
Light the signal fire.
Kinda like pass, I don't care about overdrawing. It's actually a bit of a bait, like if my opponent thinks that overdrawing would be bad for me, they click end round, we benefit immensely. Like, I like Tavernkeeper on the pod.
There's no taking it, you know.
Waka wo, waka wo. Static. Interesting. Fast speed spells or Ice Shard Palm deny well. I feel like we're kinda dead. I like looking for deny. Yeah, but I don't like our odds of finding a deny.
If they're out there, I'll spot them.
Only 2 draws.
To get you that fire. Just as I suspected.
Entomb Ravine. Next turn Feel the Rush. Entomb Scattered Pot at that stairs. It's always Entomb. And I kinda would like to get rid of Ezreal. Like, Feel the Rush next turn doesn't win me the game yet. Although Scary Pot would be an elusive blocker. We do that instead of Ravine.
Alert the village!
Can't help but feel like Pod has to be better. It just plays so much into a Thermal Beam. A bit into a Tri-Beam, I suppose. Because if I play Ravine, I'm committed to playing this for landmark obliteration next turn, kind of. And then open with FTR, and then we just lose to our opponent's Ezreal. Lul. Ravine and open FTR. Guys, I mentioned that like 3 times. It's not good. We just lose to Ezreal if we do that. Trundle is not leveled. Oh wait, now we can double Ravine though. But I don't think it's better than obliterating Ezreal, right? They could have another Tri-Beam, which is scary, but they could also... It's more likely they have Scorched Earth, right? Double Ravine is safer. I'd say it's not safer. Apparently landmark procs simultaneously, so Ezreal will not be hit. Wait, it's not their side first, then my side? When did that get changed? So we lose to... We probably lose to Farron, we probably lose to Tribe, we probably lose to another Ezreal. And they changed 3. Simultaneously, that's so weird.
I think we have something on that case.
I thought you'd never
Yeah, that's
ask.
probably a loss.
Get him, Ada. Another clue.
Entomb Palm Ice Shard. Although Entomb isn't even good here. What we could try is freeze Ezreal. So he dies to double Ravine. feel kinda dead. Order, true, order. I mean, it won't matter because we're double ravining next turn. We also just saw a Scorch, which makes our ravine better. The issue is this is still gonna go through and hit us. Hanging onto a thread here. So we need to top deck Ice Shards. Or Palmer will. Rip. Oh. Is pot for slow speed better than Minah? FTR is bad this turn. Feels like it's pod for fast speed.
Well, what have we here?
What have we here? So we bounce Caitlyn, next turn play Ravine. Need to draw something nice though.
My turn. Lemons at maximum. Punch it.
Scoping the area.
What's the other line? Block Caitlyn, bounce, Death and Ada, play Minah. It loses though. Trundle is a really good top deck. Oh no. Why give priority to Mystic? Us to conceal the ravine. There's, I think, like 1 out of 19 Mystics left. We don't have to. I guess we can just drop ravine first. Ah, shuts down the level up. FTR now, Minah next turn, I think. Let's see though, always pillar first. Not by a long shot. I don't think there's anything we'd need Minah for this turn, right? Tri-beam. Stun Spooter. The question is, can we pass? I feel like pass is a losing play compared to playing Feel the Rush here. Right now we get guaranteed open attack lethal, but we have to assume that at least this is not a brick. I'm not sure what this is. This has been sitting in hand for a while. It's not a Scorched. Could be a flock. There's a tri-beam. So Stun Spider kind of wins.
One step ahead.
Okay, so next turn Pillar into Minah should win. Unless opponent top decks Ezreal. We don't even need Minah necessarily. Let's see. Thing is, if our opponent has a Ragnoid Sentry, now we give them 2 stuns. If it's a Ragnoid Sentry, we'd have to just deny. Okay, that means we swing in right now, and I think we got this. Let's go. That was a thriller. That was a major thriller. Yeah, Phase is as good as a blocker, even if we don't ramp with it. Sentry is a better blocker in most cases. Like this one, for example.
See the Demacian border from here.
For the Empire.
Ooh, that's interesting.
The few.
So we can remove this on turn 4, like with Gnar's Pokey Stick. So I'm not sure if we would take this block. Nope, that's a better target. So block, block.
I'll shoot the wings off a
Oh, now it's gonna be interesting how our opponent attacks. Only these two.
Ready the torches.
What if it's not Gnar? Ooh, Ice Shard top deck. That makes it interesting. It could also level Gnar here. No, I think I like generating a Pokey Stick. I mean, we're still fairly likely to level Gnar here, because otherwise our opponent has to block, which means losing an attacker. That's a sick Ice Shard.
strike at their foundations.
No scout attack? Sasj.
I've carved meat bigger than you. Let's talk about
This we can kill with Pokey Stick, this we can't. That's why I switched the blocks. Now we could go Phases into Trundle getting the pillar instead of Pokey Stick mana.
Hello, new best friend.
you talking without me.
Good draw. Feels like Trundle can attack as well here.
These are troll
This makes development on our opponent's side more awkward. Ooh, also good draw for them, unfortunately. I am giving them a block plus fervor. I don't think they'll do it though. Or rather, we wouldn't mind if they did. That means Gangplank doesn't level. This is somewhat likely to be a Gangplank, I suppose.
On the trigger.
So Gnar dies.
Nothing's tougher than a troll.
Good top deck, let's go.
Impressive, isn't it?
I'm not sure if it's worth playing the sentry here.
Bilgewater is
I mean, Keg is just Trundle lethal right now. Sentry doesn't do anything. Pass will open up with Pillar. Let's see what our opponent does. We can give Trundle +1 attack by going for slow speed here from Scattered Pot. Drawing FTR. Just another Behold. I mean, we win anyway, right? We could also just swing in and palm. But this is the quickest and safest way.
This is gonna be fun.
GG's! This deck has no bad matchups. As long as you can top deck Ice Shards like a god. No more TFT. I grinded up to Masters and then, I don't know, TFT is just too addictive. And I feel like it would take way too much time to become a top tier player. Like Masters is doable without investing too much time, but Challenger is some next level shit. Faces is not good against a deck that runs Broadwings. Did I find TFT more complex than lore? No. Well, I feel like it's a bit more knowledge-based and a bit less skill-based. Because, like, this goes down into game theory. TFT is technically a game of perfect information, if I'm not mistaken. Because you see, like, you could technically take in all of the information which what everyone else does. So there's not that element of estimating how likely your opponent is going to do something. There is different type of randomness, and that is like knowing the probabilities of stuff, knowing your odds. But that's a bit different than the risk-reward assessment, which is the core of card games. Or of games of imperfect information in general. Sorry for the roping. I just got distracted here.
In Avarosa's name.
We're passively bluffing a ravine here. I'm not sure if our opponent cares though. If they have Sivir, they'll just slam her.
The Demacian soldier is worth 10 foes. Warm hearts and hot soup.
Still wonder if this guy is actually the right move in Sivir Akshan. I mean, for me at least, TFT is much more mechanically challenging though. Because I'm not used to auto battlers, like I'm not used to that type of strategy games. And The thing that makes TFT is interesting is that there is still a ridiculous amount of options every turn. I mean, I don't care if he plays for Demacia this round. Yeah, and it's humanly impossible to like soak up all of the information and to make optimal decisions. Like, it's probably humanly impossible to solve the game, and that's what makes it interesting, because you have to make quick, good decisions under pressure.
I've got a price.
Or just like better ones than your opponents do.
It's a living.
But the biggest turnoff for me is that the competitive system is just not very competitive. It's kind of the same as with Runeterra. The format does not filter variance at all. You have some big tournaments every now and then, but they're all only like a couple of rounds. TFT Masters is not highest tier? No. Now I need something to ramp. Damn.
Bow to your king.
Cool eye back.
You like it? I mean, shut up and fight!
I don't think Icequake is good though. None of my options are great. I guess I'll assume my opponent does not rally this turn. I can play Scattered Pod. Either fast or burst speed spell. Yeah, fast should be better. Kind of impressive that you reach Masters while being new in the game with a few days of gameplay. I mean, I'm not entirely new to... Like, I've played a tiny little bit of set 5, like a couple of games, and a couple of games of set 6. And to be fair, it was more like probably 10 days of grinding, if I recall correctly. And I got placed into like gold or plat immediately. But I guess, yeah, I probably still pick it up quicker than most other people. Now this turn Ice Shard looks enticing. Oh, that's just a deny. Is it ever something else like Palm? No, it's just a deny. And then Sentry and one of the 4 mana spells. Although the 4 mana spells aren't really good here. Neither is Ice Shard though.
You can see the Demacian border from here.
They don't have Concerted Strike mana anymore, so it's unlikely they remove Trundle before he levels. Tis a weak attack. Okay, we're getting into power play territory.
You're in my kingdom now.
Concerted Strike, somewhat likely. What about Ice Shard, Icequake? Ah, Sivir survives though. I guess it's like Ice Shard Palm. That's theirs for damage is tempting. Like the Ice Shard type of line makes leveling Sivir close to impossible for my opponent, which is very, very good for us. Or it's a Palm. I'm not quite sure. If we Palm, we still get a very good attack. Could play like Gnar. Will isn't good. We want the Sivir without the spell shield to stay on the board. So like Icequake and especially It That Stares make leveling Sivir very unlikely. Whereas... Oh, Sharp Sight's good then. I think I like Gnar more. Will plus shard denied already? No. Rally still goes through because it doesn't say give an ally barrier to rally. Just this.
Business as usual.
That is such a weird attack. Guess they must have a bunch of combat tricks. Desperate for the Sivir level up for sure.
Nothing stronger than a troll.
Be fun to revert Sion? I don't think Sion needs a revert. Okay, we're still getting a pretty good attack. See, and this is why we want a non-spell shielded Sivir on the board. This is very important, like, that we didn't will previously.
Move with purpose.
This block goes in, we put him to 4. Yeah, looks fine.
Hey, do it.
Trade Akshan, okay. What's the power level of Feel the Minah? I don't know yet, but Broken Ball won Fight Night with it.
Gently, gently. Ha-ha! A little further. Bingo.
Pull the 3-2? I'm pretty sure it wasn't vulnerable.
Cracks goes, bag loot. Blah, blah. She gets it.
I'd prefer, like, if my opponent swings right now, we're chilling. And now we have a good Minah. Is it Minah? No Field Rush next turn, but that's fine. Next turn is gonna be Trundle. Keep Will Mana open.
Feet were made for roaming and kicking.
So opponent takes this out. We get an open attack. We're one off no, it's actually lethal, right? We Will of Ionia the blocker and we Pokey Stick Nexus.
Steady now.
Our opponent can only stop it with like combat trick plus concerted strike.
Focus earthward, aim skyward.
Got a lizard and a shovel.
Also, the card gets obliterated. Yee! Oh no, it doesn't. I thought there was 10 cards in hand. GG's. That's kind of a cute finish. Will of Ionia to push 1 extra damage.